Good afternoon, folks. We're here to show you a few examples of Scottish athletics. And before we get started, we want to thank our grantors that help make this possible: the Arizona Commission on the Arts, Flagstaff Arts Council, Flagstaff Community Foundation, City of Flagstaff, and Coconino County. Now, our Scottish athlete Dave is going to show us the Scottish hammer throw. The event is similar to the hammer throw as seen in modern day track and field competitions, though with some differences. In the Scottish event, a round metal ball weighing 16 or 22 pounds for men or 12 or 16 pounds for women is attached to the end of a shaft about 4 feet in length and made out of wood, bamboo, rattan, or plastic. With the feet in a fixed position, the hammer is whirled about one's head and thrown for distance over the shoulder. Hammer throwers sometimes employ specially designed footwear with flat blades to dig into the turf to maintain their balance and resist the centrifugal force of the implement as it is whirled about the head. This substantially increases the distance attainable in the throw. So Dave, go ahead and give us an example of a hammer throw. All right, that's a fine example of a hammer throw. Okay, the first attempt by Dave was with a 16-pound hammer, and this is going to be an example with the 16-pound hammer. So go ahead, Dave. And of course, he threw it quite a ways, quite a ways further because it's a lighter stone, and he also has got his base there to keep him from fouling because you don't want to go over that and hurt yourself. So. Hello again, folks. Now we're going to show you how the weight for distance is thrown. Our Scottish athlete Brent is going to be showing us how he throws the 28-pound stone weight. It's also known as the weight for distance event. There are actually two separate events, one using a light 28-pound for men and 14 for women, and the other is a heavy 56 pounds for men, 42 pounds for masters men. The weights are made of metal and have a handle attached each directly or by means of a chain. The implement is thrown using one hand only, but otherwise using any technique. Usually a spinning technique is employed. The longest throw wins. So Brent, if you'd like to go ahead and show us how to throw this heavy weight. All right, very good job. All right, now our athlete Brent is going to throw the light stone 28 pounds. Wow. And again, you can see how throwing the 28-pound weight is a lot easier than throwing the 56-pound weight. Okay, our athlete Dave is going to throw the light weight for distance. All right, and as you can see, a whole lot easier than throwing a 56-pound weight for distance. And folks, do not try this at home unless you got things you don't mind breaking. All right, folks, now our athlete Dave is going to show us the weight over the bar, also known as weight for height. The athlete attempts to toss a 56-pound weight with an attached handle over a horizontal bar using only one hand. Each athlete is allowed 3 attempts at each height. Successful clearance of the height allows the athlete to advance into the next round at a greater height. The competition is determined by the highest successful toss, with fewest misses being used to break tie scores. And now our athlete Dave is going to show us the weight for over the bar. And you can see how dangerous that could be if you don't get out of the way in time. Okay, now we're going to demonstrate the caber toss. Our athlete Dave is going to be throwing this. It's a long log. It's stood upright and hoisted by the competitor, who balances it vertically, holding the smaller end in his hands. Then the competitor runs forward, attempting to toss it in such a way that it turns end over end, with the upper, larger end striking the ground first. The smaller end that was originally held by the athlete then hits the ground in the 12 o'clock position, measured relative to the direction of the run. If successful, the athlete is said to have turned the caber. Cabers vary greatly in length, weight, taper, and balance, all of which affect the degree of difficulty in making a successful toss. Competitors are judged on how closely their throws approximate the ideal 12 o'clock toss on an imaginary clock. So Dave, if you'd go ahead and show us how to toss the caber. Excellent job. That was almost 12 o'clock. Great job. Yeah, we are dealing with some wind, so that probably had a little adverse effect on that.
All right, so here we have a piece on the life cycle of the caber. So this is your standard Northern Arizona ponderosa pine that I cut down about a year ago. I let dry out, cure for a year, hanging up on some pallets so it wasn't on the ground getting damp. And we have Dave here using your draw knife to peel the thing down. It's a whole lot of man hours and just sweat work to get it done. But the point is to peel this down until it gets to about this smooth. You can see down here on the ground. So we've delimbed it, we've peeled it, now we've got it to a nice smooth shape. We start working on the end to make it nice and round so that the athlete can hold it in their hands without injuring themselves. Oftentimes we'll do a little staining, lacquering, or gluing in order to make the caber as resilient as possible, because they hit the ground pretty hard, and over and over again we want to be able to use them a lot after all the man hours and labor that I've put in there. This also explains why cabers vary in height, weight, taper, all that stuff, because they're coming from trees that we chop down, and so we do the best we can to get a nice smooth implement along these lines. And we'll use this for a number of years until basically it shatters on the competition field, at which time we chainsaw them into firewood and use the whole tree throughout its entire life cycle.
All right, now for another Scottish heavy event, we're going to do the sheaf toss. The sheaf is a bundle of straw weighing 20 pounds for the men and 10 pounds for the women. It's wrapped in a burlap bag and is tossed vertically with a pitchfork over a raised bar, much like that used in pole vaulting. The progression and scoring of this event is similar to the weight over the bar. There is significant debate among athletes as to whether the sheaf toss is in fact an authentic Highland event. Some argue that it's actually a county fair event, but all agree that it is a great crowd pleaser. And our athlete Dave is going to show us how to toss the sheaf. All right, success. Very good job. How about if we make him do it one more time just for fun?
It's his favorite event anyway, as far as I can tell.
It's the easiest.
By far my worst.
All right, another successful toss. All right, folks, that's how you toss the sheaf.